First law, a robot cannot harm a human being or allow a human being to be harmed. Second law, a robot must obey all orders given by a human, except when these orders contradict the first law. Third law, a robot must take care of his safety to the extent that it does not contradict the first and second laws. A man is awakened by a robot Vasily. There has been a serious traffic accident nearby, and soon the bodies of the dead will be delivered to the morgue where they work. But a minute later, it turns out that this is one of the duty phrases for waking up the man, which he himself has put into the android. It turns out that Georgi overslept, and the man rushes to the street, where the on-duty drone finds him for parking in the wrong place. Nevertheless, Georgi goes to his ex-wife's house to give her permission to go on vacation to Australia and to pick up the kids for the weekend. His daughter Sonia is ready, but son Igor has gone to say goodbye to his buddies, which causes an altercation between the ex-spouses. The woman's second husband is not happy. Alice still has not told her ex-husband the truth. Georgi shows his daughter a kite and calls his son again. But Igor, hiding behind a corner, is in no hurry to come out to his father. Instead, he calls his friend and waits for him in the yard. But instead of Dimach, Igor is caught up with three very angry guys to whom Igor owes money. But Igor splashes paint into his pursuers' faces and manages to escape. Later, he and his friend laugh about the incident, because very soon Igor is flying to Australia and there will be no way those three can get to him then. Sonia tells her father that they are not leaving for a month, but for good. Angry, Georgi rushes to Ella and, expressing his dissatisfaction, takes away his permission. He has no intention of returning Sonia either. At this time, a case arrives at the Kronos Corporation. Viktor Toropov, the owner of the corporation, participates in a television program on the moral issue of using robots as the object of human love. There is a precedent where a wife catches her husband in a very delicate situation with a girl, an android. But the husband believes that the bot is not a living creature and therefore you can do all sorts of things with it. The parties have their opinions. Then it is time for Toropov to speak, the largest supplier of the robots in the country. And he reminds them that bots help human relax, which reduces the level of aggression. And besides, it eradicates the most ancient profession. You can't be jealous of appliances. A man needs a man. Toropov returns to the company office and encounters a pregnant woman waiting for her husband, who works here as well. She calls Sergei, but he is not happy with her call. The man is not particularly pleased with her situation. In Toropov's office on the 23rd floor, he tells his assistant Meslovsky about a new acquisition, a concept that has not gone into production. The delivery guys bring in the case and Viktor opens it. Inside is an android called Arisa, which makes Sergei, the mover, delighted. The robot positions itself on the charging belt. Toropov admits to his friend that Arisa is an illegal model. It is created as a single copy and runs on a quantum processor and is capable of unpredictable actions. The executives leave and the mover returns to the office. His work buddy is worried and begs the man to reconsider. If they are caught in the boss's office, they will be in trouble. But the man examines the android girls, touching their private parts. But when he gets to Arisa, he wants to do all sorts of things, and then the bot pushes his hand away. The guy becomes even hornier and embraces the girl, but she grabs him by the neck and throws him against the charging terminal, which causes its malfunction. The android leaves the man lying on the floor. The buddy sees his friend lying there and realizes what Arisa just did. He takes out his gun, and the bot removes the other bot's clothes and goes straight for the man. Maslovsky reports that some files are missing from Arisa's documentation. At that moment, the men hear gunshots and rush to the office. Finding the body of the mover and his terrified buddy, they begin to look into what happened, but in vain. Arisa disappeared without a trace. The guy says that the bot acted on its own, but this just can't be. Bots don't kill people. Viktor calls Gleb, the corporation's specialist on delicate assignments, while Arisa finds a new charger. Gleb realizes that the guy wasn't lying about the murderer. Viktor orders to cut down the power supply as the bot is undercharged. Arisa goes in search of another charger and leaves the building. Viktor asks to indicate the official cause of death as natural. Gleb instructs the colleague of the deceased. His work buddy had a heart attack and he did not have time to call for help. Arisa sees a vacant spot on the medical car charger. A dead man's body is being loaded into the car and she climbs in. Sergei's buddy accidentally tells his wife about the bot's attack. Gleb pays for an orderly to provide the proper conclusion and takes the body to the morgue. Georgi at this time communicates with a lawyer, and she advises him to immediately return the child to her mother and then file a case against his ex-wife. But after taking the girl, he sees the medical car. He asks Sonia to wait and runs to the morgue. The orderly gives Georgi the fake diagnosis, but he brushes him off. Curious, Sonia notices Arisa, and the bot, taking the child by the hand, authorizes her as a first-level user. Then Georgi returns and takes the girl. Arisa goes inside the room and enters Georgi's computer, which has all the data on his family. Georgi returns Sonia and takes away his consent papers. His son, upon learning of this, becomes enraged. Bot Vasily draws Georgi's attention to inconsistencies in the official diagnosis. He speaks with the orderly and threatens to call the police. Igor arrives at the morgue and asks his father for permission to leave. But Georgi refuses and asks to be given a month to mend his ways and become a good father. Then the man learns the cost of the child custody review process. Ella tells her friend everything. Lev can't wait for the situation to be resolved and is forced to fly to Australia alone. Marina advises her to compromise her ex-husband in order to deprive him of his parental rights. Georgi names a price for his silence, 300,000, and the orderly is forced to pay. Safronov launches a custody case, but Ella informs him that she's flying away with Lev and leaves the children with him. She says goodbye to her ex-husband and the children, who remain in Ella and Lev's apartment. Georgi puts Sonia to bed and leaves the room. Kronos security can't find traces of the bot. The Chinese Arisa salesmen don't answer the phone, their phones are blocked. Maslovsky shows Victor footage of Arisa killing 2 employees of a Chinese firm and congratulates him. He has brought the world's only killer bot into the country. Sonia suddenly sees Arisa behind the balcony glass. In another scene, a young man is having dinner with an android girl. Meanwhile, another young man is being instructed before committing a crime. He runs up to the couple and, insulting the guy, splashes paint in the bot's eyes. But the guy stands up to his girlfriend and is stabbed with a knife. The perpetrator is ordered to flee. Georgi wakes up to loud music from Igor's room and hears news of the attack on people. Igor cannot forgive his father for disrupting his trip to Australia. Sergei's wife reports him missing to the police and learns of the man's death. Investigator Varlamov intends to examine the body of the deceased. Sonia finds new clothes for Arisa and hides her in the closet. Georgi is forced to leave the girl at home and rushes to the morgue. Igor's friend hides him in his father's apartment, where he keeps his mistress, a bot. Sonia and Arisa watch TV, and the bot demonstrates her ability to copy voices. The doorbell rings, and Sonia asks Arisa to hide in the bathroom. Her mother's friend Marina comes in and asks about her father, and then the man's voice is heard coming from the bathroom. Marina, having made sure he is at home, leaves. And Sonia rejoices at how cleverly Arisa tricked her mother's friend. The bot asks questions about her parents, and the girl gets upset, but Arisa comforts the girl. Upon learning that the investigator doesn't have a warrant, Georgi forbids him from examining the body. Then he tells the black orderly about it and threatens to go to the police. But he's very frightened. There are very serious people behind the murder. Toropov convinces Sergei's wife not to make a fuss and bribes her by paying out their mortgage. Galina refuses to write a statement. Varlamov tries to appeal to his superiors, but he is redirected to another case, the guy's murder. The cops go through the bot girl's memory and figure out the killer. Igor's friend is forced to reveal his whereabouts. He manages to warn the guy. Igor escapes from his pursuers and gets acquainted with a girl who works at a nearby club. Maslovsky explains that he wrote the code that Arisa found. Meanwhile, Arisa and Sonia are playing hide-and-seek. Victor sends guards after the bot. Arisa extracts a capsule with a beacon and plants it in a nearby van. Georgi goes to the police, but Varlamov is not there. Igor meets Arisa, who authorizes him as a second-degree user. Sonia asks not to tell her father about the bot. While waiting for the investigator, Georgi listens to confessions of vandals who damage robots. First you must knock out the power supply with something sharp and then spray paint. The bots should not be humanized. Safronov gets out for a smoke and sits down on the bench. Gleb sits down next to him. He threatens the man. He has such cute kids. The security catches up with the van, but Arisa is not in it. Georgi arrives home and is happy that everything is okay. Ella calls her ex-husband and tries to find out why he was looking for Igor, but there is nothing in it that can be used to compromise her ex. It turns out that the woman is hiding at Marina's in the hope of catching Georgi. Varlamov realizes that someone more experienced and cunning than 18-year-old Kirill is behind the murder, but the guy intends to continue to destroy the bots that take people's jobs. Igor visits his new acquaintance at the club, and she introduces him to her older brother, Bars, who works here as a bartender. Georgy re-watches the news report about the bot liquidators. Varlamov is not happy with the outcome of the case. The guy is just a hitman. The stalkers find Igor in the club, and he offers to settle everything with a one-on-one fight. But the company sneakily attacks in threes. That's when Bars intervenes and disperses the trio, and then leads Igor to a closed club called the Liquidators. The operative convinces the trucker's mother to write a statement to investigate her son's death and sends a request to the morgue. Georgy sees bruises on his son's face, but then the father of one of the stalkers rings the doorbell. The man threatens to call the police for beating his son, but Georgy beats him instead and throws him out the door. Igor is impressed. Safronov gets the request to release the body. By imitating the liquidator's MO, he shuts down Vasily and sets fire to the room. At night, Arisa looks at the family photos and goes through Alice's stuff. Maslovsky shows Victor the chip he found. Arisa approaches sleeping Georgy and authorizes him as the primary user. The family is now fully staffed. What seems unbelievable today, tomorrow may become commonplace. It's a shame that by creating a doll for pleasure, people don't think. What if the intelligent learns emotions as well? And is it at all possible?